Hello everybody and welcome back to Comet Sighted. Today we are doing the Dev Diary from the 12th of November 2018, and if you're looking at the post date on this, it is the 20th of November. Unfortunately, this one came at a time where I just didn't have enough time to record it, so we're going to pop this one out and then the next one out real quick like. Hello again! Today I'm here, somewhat belatedly, to talk about how religion works in the game, as well as the starting setup in Anatolia and the Aegean. In the ancient world, religion was not quite as important as in the period covered by some of our other games, like the Age of Reformation in Europa Universalis or Crusades in Crusader Kings. That does not mean, however, that religion was inconsequential in the ancient world. Where syncretism was common, there was also great variety in the many pantheons of the era, and things like the cult of fortune and the worship of Serapis, in some ways it transcended the different religious spheres. In Imperator, each county, character, and pop will belong to one of the 22 religions in the game. These will be the source of flavor, but also some of direct gameplay effects. Perhaps most importantly, pops that are of another religion in your country will not be as happy or productive under your rule. Characters of another religion to your country will have a lower maximum loyalty to the state. Pops ruled by a governor of their own religion will be happier and more productive, while the happiness of pops under governor of foreign religion will be less happy and more prone to unrest. Religion does not modify opinion between countries, but in diplomacy, a country of another religion will be somewhat less likely to accept your proposals. Characters of the wrong religion will also be less likely to be elected for office in a republic. And in our first pick here, we have the Hellenic religion, which will probably cover the Greek and Roman pantheons. Blessing of Ares, Discipline 7.7. Blessing of Zeus, Aggressive Expansion. Blessing of Apollo, National Manpower. Blessing of Hermes, Commerce Income. Wow, that's a big one right there. Blessing of Athena, Research Points. Blessing of Tyche, I don't know that one, honestly. National Unrest. Blessing of Hades, National Tax. Blessing of Aphrodite, Population Growth. In addition, you can spend religious power to invoke omens to sacrifice to the gods and increase stability, and on invoking Devotio to reduce war exhaustion. Each country is able to invoke an omen for the price of religious power, currently 200 points as a base. The power and length of the omen can be modified by things like ideas, government officials, events, laws, and many other things. Unlike in Europa Universalis, Rome, an omen can never directly fail, giving you a negative effect. So in EU Rome, I remember that now. I haven't played that game a ton, but I played it a little bit. Yeah, there was a pretty good chance that you could just fail an omen and just get a negative effect, the opposite of whatever the omen was you were trying to get. The name and description of the omens depends on your religion and culture. A Greek country following the Hellenic faith will, for instance, seek the blessing of Ares, Athena, or Tyche, whatever that. I'm honestly unfamiliar with that one. While a Roman will instead turn to Mars, Minerva, or Fortuna. This is also reflected in events and texts that reference the gods. Well, that's interesting. I thought maybe they would mash them together like they did in CK2, but no. I think they're both called Hellenic in the game, but they'll have their each have their own unique god names. Here we have a small section of the map with our religion in it, Zoroastrian. I'm glad to see that in there, and you can see Hellenic properly covers the coasts of Anatolia, Canaanite, and so on and so forth. Pop religion can change either by direct intervention of the state using religious power or through the use of religious conversion governor policy. Characters will generally not change their religion, but may do so on their own accord through events, eventually if they are ambitious and wanting to pursue a career in the service of the state. You can also demand that your characters change their religion directly, though they may not necessarily appreciate that. In India, Buddhism is still young and spreading religion, which will be reflected in a tendency for characters and pops there to switch to it through events. The religions currently in the game are Hellenic. Having spread from the Greek heartland, the Olympian pantheon is venerated by many. The names, aspects, and hierarchy of many of the gods can vary wildly from religion to religion. However, Zeus, or Jupiter as he's known to the Romans, is regarded as the figurehead of the Olympian pantheon. Cometic. The history of the indigenous Egyptian religion stretches back many thousands of years, manifesting as a polytheistic faith. The worship of Ra, Atum, Sekhmet, and others displayed a deep reverence for the fundamental aspects of the natural world. Canaanite. The Canaanite religion venerates a number of gods and their aspects in a polytheistic manner. Baal is regarded as the chief deity and a complex hierarchy of lesser gods, which were often worshipped at shrines found on mountains or hilltops. At the start of the game, Canaanite religion is primarily found in Phoenicia and Phoenician colonies, such as Carthage. Zalmoxian. Whether Zalmoxis was originally a prophet or a god is unknown. The Dacians and Getae, however, revered Zalmoxis as a divine being, ascribing many miraculous acts to him. Druidic. Druids acted for the Celts as a distinct social class. Often acting as magistrates and lawmakers, they also dictated local religious customs and beliefs. Druidic faiths are primarily found in Iberia, Gaul, and the British Isles at the start of the game. Iberic, essentially a hybrid polytheistic religion. Iberian religious practices involve the veneration of animal spirits as well as ancestor worship. Various Hellenic and Phoenician gods were worshipped by the Iberians, as well as local deities such as Batatun and Atasina. A lot of these I'm unfamiliar with, you'll have to forgive me. Jewish. Unusually amongst contemporary faith, Judaism is a monotheistic religion. Following a series of prophets and teachers, the Jewish holy book, the Torah, contains the details of a covenant created between God and the children of Israel. Zoroastrianism. The prophet Zoroaster taught of a monotheistic faith in the creator god, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, evolving out of an early Indo-Iranian polytheism. Great reverence is shown for the eternal law, or Dana, maybe, which espouses good and righteous conduct. Matrist. Little is known about the Baltic tribes and their religion. Nonetheless, records survive telling us of cults worshipping a mother goddess along the Baltic coast. North African. The ancient culture and religion was a melting pot of traditional Egyptian beliefs, star worship, ancestor veneration. Many megaliths, stone constructs raised in the honor of the gods, still exist, dotted about the African landscape. Tuistic. The ancient Germanic god of Teus or Tuosto, I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of those right, was worshipped by the early migratory tribes from modern-day Scandinavia. Many accounts suggest that the Germanic people practice a largely animist religion, venerating the earth and the sky and the life forces of all living things. Arabic. Religion in Arabia was a polytheistic mix of deities, aspects, and demons, practiced in localities and enclaves around the region. Allah, the creator god, may have been worshipped as a head of a pantheon during this period in some locations. Ritualist. Representing a variety of localized faith and folk religion, ritualism espouses ancestor worship, animism, and votive offerings. Buddhism. A relatively young religion, Buddhism arose in northern India following the life of Siddhartha Gautama, or simply Buddha. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right either. Buddhist was an ascetic teacher who spoke of the middle way throughout India. Hindu. Hinduism evolved out of the Vedic period, shepherded by the creation of the Upanishads, and was widely followed throughout India during early antiquity. Bon. Bon represents a collection of folk religion originally practiced on the Tibetan plateau. Aspects of ancestor worship and animism appear frequently, as well as nascent polytheism. Heptadic. Originating in the Scythian lands, the pantheistic faith worshipped 7 principal gods, often equated to those of the Greek pantheon. Elements of the earlier polytheistic folk religion and the Scythians still remain, as does the practice of horse sacrifice and chariot burials, similar to those of the Celts. Cybele. The Frisian cult of Cybele is linked to prehistoric mother goddess worship. Evolving over thousands of years, the cult of Cybele, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, often claimed a relationship to mystical figures and heroes and practiced their religion with the veneration of idols. Chaldic. The Chaldic pantheon represents a religion which grew out of the Urartian culture many centuries before. A principally polytheistic faith, the chief god was known as Chaldee and was worshipped as a warrior god. Armazic, possibly connected to the nearby Anatolian religions, the pantheon of the Caucasian Iberian religion was ruled over by the god Armaz. Chaldean. The history of the Chaldean pantheon stretches back many thousands of years, worshipping gods such as Anu, Enki, and Nana. The devotees of Chaldean religion construct imposing temples in honor of their chosen god. Well, that's it for religion, folks, so now we're moving on into the Aegean and the Ionian coastline regions. In 304 BC, the well-populated parts of Anatolia is mostly entirely dominated by the empire of Antigonus, former satrap of Phrygia. Settled by Greeks centuries ago, the Anatolian coastline has a number of rich cities that are in most ways an integral part of the Greek world. Antigonus' policy towards the Greek city has been relative benevolence and autonomy. The cities have not generally been garrisoned. Instead, they have been organized in coins, or city leagues, don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, harkening back to the old leagues and existed in the region before its conquest of Persia and later Alexander the Great. Local adversaries have been Antigonids. In the near time has been both Cassander and Ptolemy, the later a long-term ally of many of the island countries of the Aegean. The recent Battle of Salamis has, however, seen the Ptolemaic fleet crushed and resulted in almost total Antigonid hegemony among the islands, with the notable exception of Rhodes and Kos. Anatolia is also the starting point of the old Persian royal road, which still connects the region with Syria, Mesopotamia, and beyond. Aeolia, right here, a republic representing the cities of the Aeolian League. While a league of Aeolian cities has existed on and off for hundreds of years, this particular one has been reenacted as part of the of Antigonus's policy to safeguard the rights of the free Greek cities. Starts as a feudatory of Phrygia. Ionia to the south there. A republic representing the cities of the Ionian League, like Aeolia. This league has been recreated when the cities came under Antigonid control. It is led by the Antigonid lieutenant Hippocros of Cyrene. Starts as a feudatory of Phrygia. Miletos, republic on the Anatolian coast, once a powerful city and point of origin for many Greek colonists who have settled along the Black Sea coast. Miletos was freed by Antigonus early in the Wars of the Successors, and at start enjoys its freedom relatively undisturbed. Miletos starts as an independent city. Kos, small island republic that was perhaps most known for being one of the few places to produce Mediterranean silk, and for its medical school, said to have been founded by Hippocrates. Kos is a long-term ally of the Ptolemies in Egypt, but with the withdrawal of the Ptolemaic forces after the Battle of Salamis, they now stand alone. In 304 BCE, Kos was and would continue to be a major center of culture. This is the home to a number of interesting characters, both in medicine, such as Praxagoras, as well as poets and scholars, such as Beroes, Philetas, Herodotus, many of whom would eventually find their way to Ptolemaic Alexandria. Kos starts as a feudatory of Egypt. The Nasiotic League. The Nasiotic League, or League of the Islanders, has been created by the Antigonids to organize the many islands of the Aegean. While they may seem peripheral, these islands are the source of many goods that are highly sought after in the greater Mediterranean world. Glass, silk, marble, precious, and base metals can all be extracted from these islands. Its capital is the sacred city of Delos. Halicarnassos, an old colony of Troezen in the Aegean, the port of Halicarnassos remains an independent city. In its recent excursion into the region, Ptolemy attempted to seize it by force, but was repelled by Demetrius. Halicarnassos starts as a feudatory of Phrygia. Andros, small island nation between Euboea and the Nasiotic League, aligned with the Ptolemies of Egypt. Andros starts as a feudatory of Egypt. Knidos, small city-state in coastal Caria. Would become known for its medical school, though is not as famous or influential as that on Kos. Knidos starts as a feudatory of Phrygia. Rhodes, island republic known for its highly praised workshops, shipyards, and one of the toughest fortifications in the Mediterranean. Like Kos, and Rhodian state is a friend of the Ptolemids. But after the Battle of Salamis, these are not a present factor in the Aegean. Rhodes itself has recently withstood a spectacular year-long siege by Antigonus' son Demetrius. Despite employing considerable resources and technical innovations, Demetrius failed to take the city, earning himself a nickname, the Besieger, in the process. Rhodes would in time rise to become a considerable center of production and a respectable naval power, as well as a close ally of the Ptolemies. Famously, the Rhodians would use the many siege machines left behind by Demetrius to create a monument over their victory in the form of a giant colossus, later named as one of the wonders of the ancient world. Rhodes starts independent and has a decision available to construct the colossus to commemorate its recent siege. That is pretty cool. You can build the Colossus of Rhodes. It's actually funny because right now I'm playing Game of You 4 on my Twitch channel as the Knights of Rhodes. It's been a very interesting playthrough. And here we have Western Anatolia, the Hellespont, Phrygia, and Paphlagonia. While Central Anatolia has been involved in a number of campaigns of the Successors, and it is now firmly under control of the Antigonids, the northwestern coast is home to a number of small states of increasing autonomy. As elsewhere, the Antigonid policy has been to maintain the freedom of the Greek cities, with cities such as Askatos, Chios, Chalcedon, and Byzantium enjoying the protection of the larger Frisian realm. Dionysius, Heraclea Pontica, or even the massive Thracian realm of Lysimachos. Should the Antigonid realm, Frisia in our game, fail, the days of these small cities may well be numbered, however. Alright, so, starting countries in the region. Frisia, the realm of Antigonus the One-Eyed and Demetrius the Besieger, Frisia is in many ways the most successful of the successor kingdoms at the state. Even if Antigonus himself is a very old man by now, he has consistently beaten the armies of the other successors and come closer than anyone else to reforming Alexander's empire. In 304 BCE, the Antigonid realm has enemies in all the great powers of the Hellenistic world, but still enjoys a very favorable reputation among the many Greek cities of the Mediterranean. Unlike its opposition, Antigonus is known for protecting their freedom and not leaving his own garrisons to guard them, a policy that has proven fruitful for Antigonid's armies in Greece, where Demetrius is currently removing garrison after garrison of Macedonian troops. At our start, Frisia has a large number of subject states all over Anatolia and to some extent in Greece. It is also hated by all the other big successor empires such as Macedonia, Thrace, Egypt, and the Seleucid Empire. Bithynia, small kingdom by the Black Sea and the Bosphorus ruled by the local dynast Zapotes. Independent since the death of Alexander the Great, Bithynia has had to successfully defend itself from both Lysimachos in Thrace and Antigonus in Frisia. 304 BCE, Bithynia has attempted multiple times to annex the nearby city-state Chalcedon and Astakos due to the intervention of their more powerful neighbors. Should these big states be distractive, Zapotes is likely to try again. I don't know if I'm ever pronouncing these Greek names right. I don't know Greek pronunciations. Heraclea Pontica, small kingdom by the Black Sea ruled by Amastris, widow of the tyrant Dionysus, former wife of the Diadochi Craterus and niece of the Persian Emperor Darius III. See, Darius I can get. It's a small kingdom with many enemies, and it needs to pursue very active foreign and domestic policies. Like many of the Diadochi, Amastris has founded a new capital in her own name, Amastris, moving the population of other nearby cities into one place. Starts the game as an unaligned kingdom without allies. Paphlagonia, tribal kingdom in the northwestern Anatolia region, the general lack of authority in the region after the spotlight of the Diadochi Wars has moved on. Starts the game unaligned without allies. Chios, small kingdom near the Bosphorus, tributary of Frisia. Most all know its ruler, Mithridates, who is the descendant of the Persian satrap of Pontus. Chios is nominally subject to the Antigonids, and while Mithridates and Antigonus do not trust each other, their sons have grown up friends. Historically, Antigonus would invade and execute Mithridates, while his son, also named Mithridates, would escape and eventually found a new kingdom in Pontus. Chios starts as a tributary of Frisia. Kaisakos, small plutocratic republic midway between the opening in our Sea of Marmara. Kaisakos starts as a feudatory of Frisia. Byzantium, small city-state on the western side of the Bosphorus. Its position allows it to control the shipping in and out of the Black Sea. Byzantium is constantly under threat from the much stronger nearby kingdom of Thrace under the Diadochos Lysimachos, but has so far been able to assert its independence, rebuffing any threats for tribute. I want to play that one. Chalcedon, very old, influential republic on the eastern side of the Bosphorus, supposedly called the City of the Blind due to its founders ignoring the site of the future Byzantium, another nearby city-state and frequent ally. Chalcedon is constantly threatened by the nearby kingdom of Bithynia and its ambitious king Zapotes, but has on several occasions been saved by the armies of Antigonus. At start, it is independent and unallied. All right, Cappadocia, Pontus, and the Black Sea coast. This area I'm actually very interested in. The Anatolian region has been one of many theaters on ongoing wars of the Diadochi, and has seen the rise and fall of many of Alexander's generals. These decades of warfare have left the more peripheral places like Pontus and Armenia almost entirely out of reach of the Greek successors. Cappadocia, historically often autonomous, has been central to some of the recent wars and is currently under control of Antigonid satrap That guy. Amy. I'm going to call him Amy. And our starting countries for the region. Pontus. Tribal kingdom representing the local dynasty in northern Pontus. Like Paphlagonia, Pontus has not been the primary scene of many of the fighting in the War of the Diadochi for quite a while. Historically, the former Persian satraps of Pontus, now the kings of Chios, would return to found the Mithridatic kingdom of Pontus not many years after our start in 304 BC. Cappadocia, feudatory kingdom under satrap Amy, and central Anatolia. While the rulers are Macedonian, Cappadocia remains a firmly Anatolian region with little in the way of Greek population. The former Persian satraps of the region remain in court of the nearby kingdom of Armenia and want nothing more than a return to depose Amy. In 304 BC, Cappadocia is a satrapy under Phrygia. Trapezois. Trebizond, as it's known in many, many, many strategy games. Independent oligarchic republic on the coast of the Black Sea, surrounded by the tribal southern areas of Colchis in the east and Greek colony parts of Pontus in the west. A major entrepot for Greek traders all over the Pontic coast, eastern Anatolia, and the Caucasus. That one I am interested in playing as well. Sinope, independent Greco-Pontic city-state ruled by the Paphlagonian tyrant Skydrathemis. That's what we're going to go with, Skydrathemis. I don't know if that's right. On the border of the Paphlagonia and Pontus, founded by Greek settlers hundreds of years ago, Sinope lives on its overseas trade in good relations with the city-state of Byzantium on the Bosphorus. As one of the oldest Greco-Pontic cities, Sinope has been the point of origin for many of the colonists who founded other Greek cities along the Pontic coast. Sinope starts as an independent despotic kingdom. Amisos, independent Greek plutocratic republic on the Pontic coast. While Amisos is not as rich or influential as Sinope, it is a strong little merchant state. Amisos is independent and unaligned at the start of the game. Karassos, small city-state on the Pontic coast, founded by the colony of Sinope. Karassos starts as a feudatory of Sinope. Katyura, small city-state on the Pontic coast, founded as a colony of Sinope. Katyura starts as a feudatory of Sinope. I gotta say, this was a very, very long one. And there's a lot of horrible Greek pronunciation by me, so I do apologize for that. But what I'm happy about is being able to finally get a good look at some of these areas. Like the Aegean, in the Aegean region, I'm very interested in playing Rhodes. Over here, I'm very interested in Byzantium. And I'm super glad that you can actually build Ancient Wonders of the World. That's going to be I'm wondering what the actual effect on gameplay is. I'm assuming it's going to have some sort of actual gameplay mechanic rather than just giving you a little icon so that you could point to it and say, hey, look at my cool thing. And over the last one, I'm interested in basically Trebizond and Pontus mostly. But there's not too much in terms of like new information here other than just going over the specifics of the regions. We know all the different types of religions we're going to have available to us now, and we have a little bit of map mode to work with, but again, there's not really anything, new or crazy jumping out of us. It's just more information that we have to work with, and nothing that I'm really upset about. So we're just going to let you guys discuss what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see all of you next time.